is something different. Late 2024, early 2025, I wasn't active on the social media, and I had some nice motorcycle-related experiences, but I didn't record them with the aim of making a YouTube video. Still, I took many photos and videos for myself with my mobile phone. And now, I think it is worth sharing with you. So let's talk about it, and I will show you some of the photos and videos. It all started in 2019. I went on a motorcycle road trip in northern Italy with a Honda CB1000R. I published a video about it a few weeks ago. If you haven't watched it yet, the link is in the description. It was a disastrous road trip and everything went wrong. I rode a full loop around Lake Como in just half a day, but I didn't have time to really enjoy it and I only stopped when necessary. However, I made one unnecessary stop in the city of Mondello dell'Ario to take a picture in front of the Moto Guzzi factory. At the entrance, there was information about Moto Guzzi's museum. It was closed that day, and even if it had been open, I wouldn't have had the time to visit it. But that's when I started thinking that maybe I could travel across Europe to visit motorcycles, manufacturers, factories and museums. So I finally did it last fall. I went to Borgo Panigale to visit Ducati, to Berlin for BMW, to Hinckley for Triumph, and I went back to Mondello dell'Ario for Moto Guzzi. The first factory I visited was Ducati's. It's in Borgo Panigale, a district of Bologna, in Italy, very close to the airport. Now, you know where the name of the Ducati Panigale comes from. The visit includes two things, the factory and the museum. Taking pictures inside the factory is forbidden. They even put a sticker over your phone's camera lens to make sure you don't sneak one. The tour started in a huge room where freshly built bikes are inspected before shipping. It's really impressive. There are beautiful bikes everywhere around. Multistradas, Street Fighters, Panigales, racing replicas and limited editions like the one you can see in these pictures I took at the museum. And there is the strong and delicious smell of brand new bikes. I'm French, and trust me, it smells better than any French perfume. Then, they showed us step by step how motorcycles are built. Machining, painting, engine and chassis assembly, putting everything together, adding suspensions, wheels, and all the other parts. After that, quality control, the first engine start, a test bench check, and finally, preparing the bike for shipping. The logistics is breathtaking. There are endless shelves full of motorcycles parts from suppliers like Öhlins, Brembo, Pirelli. It feels like you are in a candy shop. This factory produces all the bikes sold in Europe and North America. Ducati also has factories in Argentina and Thailand. It's really interesting and you learn a lot. My only regret is that they don't show you the racing department. You just see a large door with the Ducati Corse logo. They tell you it's behind there, but it's confidential. That's a pity. I would have liked to say hi to the boss, Gigi Dall'Igna. After the factory tours comes the museum, where photos and videos are allowed. I took a video of the main hall, where racing bikes are on display in chronological order. made me emotional to see Casey Stoner's and Pecco Bagnaglia's MotoGP bikes. Beside this main hall, there are several rooms with the road bikes. Ducati's very first motorbike, the Cucciolo, the original Scrambler, the Monster. I fell in love with this Ducati 916, also the 1098, the Superleggera, and the Desmosedici, the Cadiz Exhaust, and so many other bikes. It's really a great exhibition. There is also a gift shop with all the Ducati's merchandise, and you can buy gifts for the whole family, from a baby sleep suite to a bikini for your lady. A few weeks later, I traveled to Germany to visit the BMW motorcycle factory. It's in Berlin, in the district of Spandau. This is the only BMW motorcycle factory in the world. The 900cc engines are made in China by Lonsin, but not in the BMW-owned factories. These engines are shipped from China to Germany, and the F900 bikes are then assembled here in the Berlin factory. The 300cc BMW bikes are made in India by TVS, so it's not a BMW factory either. If you have a BMW motorcycle more than 300cc, it has been built in this Berlin factory. At the BMW factory, there is no museum. Actually, the museum is in Munich, where BMW's headquarters are. I haven't had the opportunity to visit it yet. Instead, at the factory, there is a showroom called BMW Motorrad Welt that you can see in the video. Here you can see the current BMW model range and only a very few old models, 2 or 3 ones at most. But that's actually a cozy place with a cafeteria, and if it was close to my home, I think I would go there every now and then, or just for a coffee. But honestly, I would have preferred it if the museum was there. Inside the factory, taking pictures were also forbidden, and the visit was more or less similar to Ducati's. However, it was less detailed than Ducati or Triumph, and that's weird because BMW lets you choose between a regular tour and an extended tour. I took the extended one, but it was less extended than the other factory tours I made. For example, the visit ended after the quality control, and they didn't show where all the new bikes are stored and prepared for shipping. Anyway, the visit was still very interesting, as this is the largest motorcycle factory I have visited. It's absolutely gigantic. And at the time of my visit, a new building was under construction just for the production of electric motorbikes. There is also a gift shop, but no bikinis here. The next one I visited was the Triumph factory, located in Hinckley near Birmingham in the United Kingdom. Here, you will find both the factory and a museum. Inside the factory, as with Ducati and BMW, taking pictures and videos was forbidden. However, a very small part of the factory was visible from the stairs of the museum, so I managed to take these few pictures. This is the logistics warehouse where motorcycle parts from suppliers are stored, as well as freshly built bikes ready for shipping. This factory visit was the most comprehensive and informative. For example, Triumph was the only manufacturer that showed us its research and development department. There, I saw the very first clay prototype of my Triumph Trident, and elsewhere in the factory, we also got a glimpse of the new Triumph Enduro bike a few months before its public launch. The museum is also very nice and spreads across 2 floors. I filmed a video on each floor. Here is the first floor.
I mean, it might be in this one, isn't it?
And here is a part of the second floor.
I just tried to see something.
You were good friends with boys.
The whole thing with the wind in you, you get the smell.
The raw experiences and the assault on the senses.
It's way above.
It showcases the old models as well as the current model range. Here is the very first Triumph ever built, and this one is the 1 millionth Triumph produced. There are also Triumph bikes that appeared in movies, like this one ridden by Steve McQueen in The Great Escape, or this one ridden by Daniel Craig in James Bond movies. It's also funny to see a Triumph Trident like mine on display in a museum. Once again, for the museum as well as for the factory, Triumph was the most informative. They clearly want to explain how things are made and how they work, which is great. After visiting the factory, the museum and also the gift shop, I went to the cafeteria in the Welcome Center. I had lunch and I watched the MotoGP race. It was the final race of 2024 where Jorge Martin became world champion, and it was really nice to watch it surrounded by other bikers. In addition to a Triumph factory and museum, you can also visit the National Motorcycle Museum in Birmingham. And if you have already visited the factory and show your tickets, you will get a discount on the entrance fee. This is a very nice museum with many beautiful bikes, mainly classic British ones. Here are the few pictures and video I took there. Finally, I went back to Lake Como, near Milano in Italy, to Mondello dell'Aglio, where the Moto Guzzi factory is located. Here, it wasn't possible to visit the factory, but there is a very nice 3-floor museum, and the entrance is free. Let me show you some of the pictures and videos I took here.
Senta, chi ha fatto un evento di crisi che ci sono cose come quelle del deserto? Non nessuna? Nessuna scelta che hanno fatto un motore.
No, nei tempi moderni.
Sì, anche perché poi hanno aumentato il numero di cilindri del motore da corsa massimo. Tutte ferme, comprese queste qui che sono le 1400, queste sono comprese 300 kg. Come fai?
Non sto male questo figlio.
Quando le ruote girano, allora la bicicletta.
I discovered Moto Guzzi's rich history. I saw some beautiful models I had never seen before. And, the most important, I found out which motorbike inspired Playmobil's police bike. To conclude, all these factories and museums offer amazing experiences and are well worth the trip. If you ever get the chance, don't miss any of them. If you have to choose one, I would recommend Ducati or Triumph. Ducati is the most impressive. Here, passion is everywhere. They talk about their bikes and display them like a true pieces of art. The museum even has an amphitheater where you can sit and admire the bikes. And it's also amazing to see MotoGP bikes up close. Triumph offers the most comprehensive and informative experience, and the staff are incredibly friendly. The Ducati staff are also very friendly, and I had no problem with the BMW staff, but they were serious and professional and seemed less passionate about motorcycling. For example, the tour guides at Ducati and Triumph were curious to know what bike each visitor rides. At BMW, they didn't even ask. At Triumph, they also asked where each of us came from, and I was the only one from abroad, and they were very proud I had come from France just to visit. Personally, it was also nice to visit Triumph because I own one. Even though my Trident wasn't made here, but in Thailand, home to Triumph's largest factory worldwide. Visiting the BMW factory was very interesting too, but it felt more business-oriented. They focused more on efficiency, on productivity, proudly comparing their logistics to Amazon's. But it was still interesting, and let's be realistic, all these manufacturers, not just BMW, are businesses. The Moto Guzzi Museum is great, but not being able to visit the factory makes it less interesting than the others. All in all, visiting these factories and museums made me appreciate each manufacturer even more, for both their history and the quality of their products. They really are dream producer, and we should cherish all of them, even if we don't own one of their bikes, because it's great to have all these different manufacturers on the market. As for me, what's next? I would like to visit the BMW Museum in Munich, as mentioned. I would also like to visit other factories in Europe, like KTM in Austria, Aprilia and Enverusta in Italy, and hopefully someday I will visit the Japanese manufacturers' factories in Japan. That would be awesome. Or even in Europe, like Honda in Italy, where my CBF 600 was built, or Yamaha in France. However, they aren't currently open to visitors. I would also like to visit Harley-Davidson's factories and museum in Milwaukee, USA. But, as you know, all these trips will take time and money, so I don't know when I will manage them, but maybe one day. I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye bye!